Bit of a hazy view over downtown Kansas City as we go through your Thursday afternoon. But outside of that wildfire smoke that is still hanging around out there, we have a lovely rest of the day. Lovely Thursday afternoon in the 70s, just about as good as it gets for this time of year. And then we are going to bring in a first warn on Friday. So that's when our rain chances are going to return to round out the end of the work week and give us a bit of a soggier end to that and soggy start to the weekend. But rain chances will clear out by Saturday and Sunday and then pretty much stay off the board through the remainder of the 7-day forecast that I'll show you in about 5 to 10 minutes. But we do need to get through those rain chances on Friday first to be able to enjoy this beautiful weekend that will follow. Comfortable temperatures, sunny skies, drier air, all the good things that we love to hear ahead of a weekend. So let's talk where we are right now, where we expect to go the rest of your Thursday afternoon and evening. Then I'll really talk about that rain chance. Still in the 60s here in the metro, 69 degrees right now. Some of us poking into the 70s, Harrisonville, 74 degrees, 75 over in Butler. But all of us will reach the 70s later on today, even those who are still hanging in the 60s like we are here in the metro. And you can see that steady warm up for the next couple hours. Then we'll hang out in the mid to upper 70s for a couple hours there before we then cool into just a beautiful evening. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous, dry, wonderful before we then bring back that rain chance on Friday. As I mentioned, in terms of how warm we get today, 70s. Like I mentioned, the farther north you go, it's going to be a touch cooler in the low 70s for some. Here in Kansas City, right in the mid 70s, a bit warmer than that. South of I-70, way south of I-70 down towards Butler, they'll get the warmest today, of course. Now, that's today. We have a bit of wildfire smoke on hand too, which I'll get to later. I really want to focus and hone in on that first warn on your Friday, though, for that scattered rain chance that may turn from spotty to steady at times throughout your Friday. So let's talk about it. Here's this first warn in place. And here are the details. First of all, we're looking at bringing this rain chance in the morning to start, but it does look to stick around through the afternoon and, according to the most recent data we have, even into the evening. And within that time, it's possible that we find some pockets of moderate rainfall, so rain that's a bit heavier than just the light spotty sprinkles. But the great thing about Friday's rain chance is that we're not looking at severe weather concerns or flooding concerns. It's more so just friendly rain that comes through, but with it being a Friday and especially how long it looks to stick around throughout Friday, it's going to be a little inconvenient out there. I've mentioned a couple times that time frame and this starting in the morning, and we can see very spotty showers trying to pop up well before sunrise. We're going to have that first warn in place for this rain that, as you can see, really just continues through the rest of the morning. Maybe some pockets of moderate rainfall here and there before we then just continue with that coverage even into your late morning, early afternoon, maybe a brief break for some of us here and there around lunchtime before we then bring in that more scattered to widespread rain chance 12 o'clock noon and onwards. So we can see the colors there on the map lighting up, starting to bring in oranges, maybe briefly reds. That just means that that rain will stay very brief if it does get on the heavier side, and then some side going into just a light rainfall from then on out. What's new about this data that I'm showing you now is that it's holding on to this rain chance a bit later. Originally, we were hoping to kick this out of here, or at least kick it south of the metro and I-70 by 5 p.m. We can see that's not the case on this most recent model. It still brings in those pockets of moderate to heavier rainfall even into that 6-7 o'clock hour, 8 p.m. There's that snapshot as it finally starts to creep farther southward. I know that the Royals are in town this weekend, and just in general, there's a lot of fun events, fun sports events, Chiefs watch parties going on that don't want to be met with rain. This is something that we're having to keep at the forefront of our minds for all of those events. Now, again, thunderstorm potential very low too, so we're not looking at a huge threat for lightning or thunder, but this rain is just soggy, it's inconvenient, and it's not close to what we'll have through the rest of the weekend. The rest of the weekend is going to be very dry. Just have to get through this first. So here's the timeline for you with chances of precipitation. In that time, we're looking at rain kicking up in the morning and then even lingering into your evening time. That's past dinner, that's past when first pitch goes out at the K, that's past when kickoff is for all those Chiefs watch parties. So something that we're going to need to watch for that. But the later you go into the nighttime on your Friday, the less likely that rain chance is, especially for the metro. But the greatest chance to find rain is going to be right after lunchtime through the early to mid afternoon. Going to keep a first warn in place from 10 a.m. all the way through at least 6 p.m. I've mentioned we're not really talking flooding concerns. You can see why with those rain totals. It's not impressive, and it really is just an indication of how light this rainfall is looking to be. But since it looks to stay steady and kind of stick around for a while, that just means that for our southernmost counties who find that rain for even longer than the rest of us, they do have the chance to find the highest amount of rain on your Friday, which still only looks to be about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch at most. So in a nutshell, here's what we're looking at for Friday's first warn. Spotty showers to start the day, then moderate or pockets of moderate rainfall rather through the late morning, lunchtime, even just after that, as we keep that first warn in place. And at times that rain does look to try and stay steady, but still no severe weather risk that we are tracking with this one. Let's step through after that Friday's first warn and what we can find into the weekend. And it's great news. Beautiful, sunny, dry, mid 70s, kind of like what we're having today, but we'll have a bit less of that wildfire smoke to deal with, which we can see outside right now. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing camera showing a bit of a hazy look at the horizon, and that wildfire smoke that's coming in from Canada has taken air quality down a notch. So if you're part of that, one of those more highly sensitive respiratory groups, then just know that you may need to limit time outdoors today because you may experience some irritation due to that wildfire smoke coming in and that decreased air quality. So let's get you a look at that Security Bank 7-day forecast, which shows you after that little speed bump of some scattered showers on your Friday and that first warn in place for that, we're going to dry up, bring back that sunshine, and even cool down into Saturday morning. That's going to be the coolest start we have on the board, starting in the 40s there before we bring in ample sunshine, keep that dry air, warm up nicely to the mid 70s, do the exact same thing on your Sunday. We do look to end back up in the low 80s on your Monday, staying in the 80s throughout next week. So a little gradual warm up by that point, but the vast majority of your 7-day forecast is looking nice and dry. Just keep in mind, looks to be a little messy out there tomorrow, a little soggy to start the weekend. Once we clear that rain chance, beautiful rest of the weekend though. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.